So I'm constantly getting asked about how I travel so much, and so I'm just going to do a video on how I find my tickets to packing to actually traveling, just one whole video. So I guess first things first is how I find my tickets. I use Skyscanner mostly. I only use Skyscanner. I don't really use Google Flights or like Kayak or something like that. I typically only use Skyscanner. I personally think Skyscanner is the best, not being sponsored, because you can choose where you're flying from to everywhere or anywhere, and it just shows you the prices of the cheapest during the times that you want, and you can choose like the months of the cheapest dates. So it's like all around just finds you the cheapest. So I'm showing you guys on my iPad. So another tip with finding flights is to make sure you're in incognito mode or in incognito mode. Make sure you're in incognito mode or in private mode, so like the cookies aren't enabled or whatever. So that's what I'm going to do. Going on private, and basically see round trip New York City, anywhere basically, and then country, everywhere. And then so actually this month, in a few days, I will be going to California for the first time, and crazy, but it's going to be my first American travels. And I'm not entirely sure if I'm excited to go to California, just because I've been warned that I probably won't like it, because I'm 110% a city girl, and California is like the opposite of New York and every other city. So we'll see. I'm going to LA, then San Fran, and I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not going in with having like super high expectations or anything like that. So my 2019 New Year's resolution was to travel every month, and thankfully I've been able to do that. And so for the month of November, I haven't actually decided where I wanted to go yet, but I guess I'll decide now. So November, whole month, return whole month, search flights. Obviously from the United States it's the cheapest, but I'm not interested in that. Been to Canada, to DR, PR, Spain. We've been to Norway. Norway sounds interesting, and I haven't been there. 260 round trip, we'll see. Oslo, that would be really fun. I love Scandinavia. Alright, so it takes you to this page where in the green is obviously the cheapest flight, and I see it being 130, and then do 130 for a whole week, 132 for a few days, 130 for 2 weeks. Alright, let's do a week. Show flights. Right now it's showing me, damn, 262. That's hella cheap. Wow. Oslo. What is there to do in Oslo? For a whole week? Is that too long? Oh, that's really good. So basically it shows you the cheapest, that where you would want to fly out from. Obviously if you're in Europe, so this one thing I envy about you Europeans is that when you country hop, it's so cheap for you, because if I were to country hop, it's like, I don't know, 300. So this is actually like really good. 262, that's really cheap. But usually it's like 300 if I'm lucky, 500 usually from New York City. But if you're in Europe, I feel like most flights are really cheap. I've flown from London to Copenhagen for 15 euros. That's pretty insane, because if I were to fly to just a state, it would be at least 200 300 round trip in the same country, so that's pretty bizarre. But another tip for flying domestically within the US is to use Skyscanner, but also another flight that isn't included in Skyscanner is Southwest, and personally I prefer to fly that domestically with Southwest because they typically have the cheapest flights. The thing about them is that they give you 2 free check-in bags, which is amazing if you want to go anywhere domestically with a lot of luggage. and then they have snacks on the plane, and they never delay, which is literally the best thing. The flights are never delayed, and if they are, or if there's a flight or something, they always like compensate you. And if you book a ticket and you like change your mind and you want like a different time or a different day or a different destination, it doesn't cost to change, which is amazing, because originally I wasn't planning to go to LA. I was actually planning to go somewhere else. That didn't work out, and I changed it to LA, and I only paid the price difference because I'm flying through Southwest, which is amazing because I actually really do not like any kind of US/American like airline flight things, because I've never really had good experiences in the past. I do not like Delta. I'm not exactly fond of American Airlines either, and I think those are the only ones I've flown, like US airlines. As for flying outside of the US, I typically fly with Norwegian Airlines because those are always the cheapest ones that come up. Although with that is you obviously pay for your check-in bags like most airlines. Usually your carry-on bag is free and doesn't have a weight limit, but with Norwegian there's a weight limit, which is pretty unfortunate. I think it's like, actually I don't remember how much it is. It's very low, but if you're like a really good packer and you can like roll your clothes and like pack as much as you want despite the weight, this might not be the case with Norwegian, because no matter how good and how much space you have, it all goes by the weight. But here's a hack with Norwegian Airlines if you're just having a carry-on bag. It's what I do. I typically try not to do a check-in bag and just do a carry-on bag because it's completely so much faster. You don't even have to like wait for the carousel thing for your luggage. You don't have to like wait in line. So basically what I do is I just go to self-checkout, and because it's self-checkout, there's no one helping you, so you can get away with how heavy your carry-on bag is, which is what I've been doing for every flight basically, because no one checks the weight. They only check the weight if you go to one of the attendants people. So pro tip on that. And as for the European flights, I feel like you can still use Skyscanner, and I feel like that every airline that you find, it'll just be hella cheap. I also found that flying with Ryanair or Ryanair is typically the cheapest when I look. Usually that or Norwegian is usually the cheapest. I've only flown with SAS once. I think that was from Copenhagen to Paris. But I don't fly with them often. I mostly fly with Norwegian or Ryanair, mostly Norwegian. So with Norwegian, I would also suggest signing up for their rewards membership thingy, because the more you fly with them, the more points you get, and the lower your price is the next time you fly, because those points will convert to your currency, which is really nice. Okay, so now that you found your ticket and your flight destination, and it's time to pack, that could probably be the day before, which is what I do. I literally stay up till the AM until the actual day that I have to leave is when I pack. But I feel like I've become a pro at packing, so it doesn't take that long. Actually, I take that back. Finding fits is the part that takes a long time for me. So with that being said, and if you're someone like me who wants to take fit pics while you're traveling, and I suggest going with a color scheme that you can mix and match your pieces together. So for example, in the beginning of the year, I went to London, Copenhagen, Paris, Milan, Lisbon. Goodness, I don't even remember. It's so bad. So I went to like four or five different countries in one go. So I brought my big check-in bag, but the clothes that I packed were just one color scheme, because like I said, you choose one color scheme, you can mix and match, and you'll have multiple outfits versus just having like one good outfit, one other, and then like having no other outfit picks because you already wore all your outfits. So basically just choose pieces that you can mix and match. So what I chose for that 4 or 5 country trip, I went with my favorite color scheme of red, black, beige, and white, and it went like very well because all of my outfits just like went together. I wasn't repeating outfits, but I was repeating pieces, which I personally think is okay. Alright, so now you're on the way to the airport, and I guess it's not a tip, but a little tidbit. I realized that American airports make you take off your shoes, but European airports don't make you take off your shoes, which is interesting to know, I guess. So typically how I like to fly when I go to Europe from New York City, I like to take overnight flights. That way I leave here at night, then I sleep on the plane, and I get there in the morning. And so that way I don't have jet lag. Sleep on the time that you're supposed to. That way when you wake up in that country and then you sleep during that time zone. So for instance, if you have a flight out of New York City at 7 p.m., you sleep the whole way there, and then you arrive in that country, and then you stay awake until the time that they typically sleep over there. But don't take a nap, because that's what causes the jet lag. Or if you're flying from country to country, which I feel like that does not apply to this at all, because most countries are just an hour away. So sleep, nap, do whatever you want, but I feel like if you're flying more than like 5 hours, even I guess from New York City to LA, depending on the time, sleep only when you're supposed to sleep, but don't take a nap, because the naps are what kills it, and that's what probably causes jet lag. Alright, so now that you don't have jet lag and you're at the airport in a different country and you want cash, so I suggest just taking cash out of the ATMs in that country, because you'll just get charged an ATM fee versus bringing cash out in your currency and taking it into a different currency and then taking it to the airport people to get it converted. They charge you for the service, and then they charge you for the actual conversion or something. Anyways, they like charge more than an ATM would, so I suggest going to an ATM instead of going to the clerk people. Okay, so I get asked this question a lot. Who takes your pictures when you travel? For me, it depends on what country I'm in. If I know people there, typically I don't know anyone there, and so what I usually do is I just ask people that are in the area to take my picture, and so far I haven't been turned down, so that's amazing. So I would just suggest asking somebody who is probably by themselves or in a group that looks like they're not from that country to take your picture, and that's just typically how I take my pictures. Asking someone to take your picture isn't all bad, because here are some examples of me asking someone to take my picture. Although the one I took in Paris at the Louvre didn't exactly go as planned, I actually wanted to touch the tip of it, but the person who was taking it didn't get the memo. Alright, and so the last final tip that I have is to remember to drink a lot of water, because I'm sure if you're traveling, then stay hydrated, don't pass out, and you're probably walking a lot, so drink a lot of water. And I know drinking a lot of water comes with having to take a piss. So that being said, I suggest going to hotels or going into department stores to use a bathroom, or you can even go to coffee shops, the regular route that most people do. But if it's anything like in New York City, finding a bathroom here is a little bit tougher than finding a bathroom anywhere else, because if you were to go into a coffee shop or a restaurant or something like that, usually it's for customers only. But what I found in other countries is that, yeah, just going to a hotel or just going to a department store, because all department stores have bathrooms. Also, another question that I tend to get a lot is, do I travel everywhere by myself? The answer is yes. I travel everywhere by myself because I'm the type of person that cannot wait for somebody. So if I wait for somebody to travel with me, I'm never gonna go anywhere or do what I want. So if you travel by yourself, you get to do whatever the hell you want, and that's mostly why I travel. And also, I meet so many people, and I love learning new cultures and new countries, and like learning. I love learning. So yeah, those are all of my tips on traveling. Like I said earlier in the vlog, I'm leaving in a few days to LA and San Fran, and then after that just saw Norway. So I think it might be Oslo, but I don't know. But then I also scrolled down and I saw Rome, I don't know, Italy. I've been to Italy, Milan, but I haven't been to Rome. I don't know, we'll see. So yeah, I hope this video helped a lot of you solo travelers out there, or just helped you in general. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and I'll see you guys next time.